Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 6 p.m. Cairo local time. This is Shuruq Bakir, and I'll accompany you through the latest development in the region and internationally, starting off with the headlines, followed with the details. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi arrives in the Qatari capital, Doha, starting a Gulf tour that includes stops in Qatar and Kuwait. Minister of Foreign Affairs Abdel Ati receives a phone call from the UN Senior Special Coordinator for Humanitarian Affairs. Israeli strikes a hospital in Gaza, forcing evacuation as attack intensifies. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Sunday arrived in the Qatari capital, Doha, starting a Gulf tour that includes stops in Qatar and Kuwait. Upon his arrival in Doha, he held talks with Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani, Prince of Qatar. Presidential spokesman Ambassador Mohammed al-Shenawi said that during his visit, President al-Sisi talks in Qatar focus on means of boosting bilateral cooperation in different fields, as well as regional development, notably those of the Palestinian cause and efforts exerted to reach ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. Ishinawi added that President Sisi will hold a meeting with representatives of the Qatar business community to tackle economic cooperation, and the presidential spokesman noted that the head of state will later head to Kuwait, the second leg of his Gulf tour. The visit comes to highlight the depth of the strategic ties between the two brotherly countries and to stress on their joint keenness on expanding the horizons of economic and investment cooperation in Kuwait. President Sisi expected to meet with his brother Sheikh Mash'al al-Ahmad al-Jabir al-Sabah, Prince of Kuwait, as well as Sheikh Sabah Khalid al-Hamad al-Sabah, the Crown Prince, and Sheikh Fahd Yusuf Saud al-Sabah, the First Deputy of the Prime Minister, Minister of Interior, and acting Prime Minister. In his meeting to follow up the executive stance of developing Al-Ahram agriculture area, Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli stressed the importance of upgrading the pyramids and Nazlet al-Siman as the area is granted with lots of unique historic treasures. Madbouli instructed to unit work with all ministers of success for the experimental operation to offer a better service for tourism visiting the pyramids. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Expatriates Badr Abdel Ati expressed on Sunday his appreciation for the Iranian and American cooperative approach to reach a political settlement by promoting the language of dialogue and negotiations, which opens the way for reaching compromise solutions that contributes to reducing tension in the region. This came during a phone call from Foreign Minister Abdel Ati with his Omani and Iranian counterparts Badr al-Buswedi and Abbas Arakchi, as well as U.S. Envoy for Middle East Steve Witkoff, regarding regional developments, especially the negotiations between U.S. and Iran on Saturday in Muscat. Foreign Minister Abdel Ati praised the constructive and vital role played by Oman in the mediation process. Foreign Ministry spokesman Ambassador Tamim Khalaf reiterated Egypt's full support for all efforts that aimed to reach political solutions through dialogue, negotiations, and enhancing peace in the region. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Expatriates Badr Abdel Ati received a phone call from the UN Senior Special Coordinator for Humanitarian Affairs and Reconstruction in Gaza Strip, Riyad Kag. The call dealt with the latest development in Gaza, where Israeli occupation forces continue to target humanitarian workers and relief organizations, the latest of which was the decision to close 6 UNRWA schools. Foreign Minister reiterated that this decision is a violation of the international law, and he also stressed on the necessity to intensify the international community's support for the UN organizations in Gaza during the coming phase. Egypt welcomed Omani's hosting of negotiations between U.S. and Iran. In a statement for the Foreign Ministry, Egypt hailed the constructive and continuous role of Oman in supporting reaching political solutions in the region and working on evading the dangers of the war from it. Egypt reiterated its full support for the Omanis and all efforts aim to reach political solutions through dialogue, especially there is no military solutions to this crisis ragging in the region. The Foreign Ministry stressed that Egypt appreciated the Iranian and American cooperative approach to reach political settlement by promoting the language of dialogue and negotiations. The statement also said that Egypt is looking forward that both sides would reach agreement to achieve peace and stability in the neighboring countries in the Gulf and achieve calm in the whole region and Gaza Strip. Iran's foreign ministry said Sunday that talks with the United States slated for next weekend if remain indirect with Omani mediation and focused solely on the nuclear issue and lifting of the sanctions. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi and U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff held talks Saturday in Muscat, marking the highest level Iran-U.S. nuclear negotiations since the collapse of the 2015 accord. They agreed to meet again in 7 days. He said that the talks would only focus on the nuclear issues and the lifting of sanctions and what Iran will not have. Welcome back. The Central Agency for Public Mobilization and Statistics said that Egyptian exposed to international blocks in which Egypt is a member state reached $46.1 billion in the year 2024 compared to $42.3 billion in 2023, an increase of 9.1%. The CAPMAS added that the increase in intertrade included international blocks as the Economic Community of West African State, the COMESA, the Group of 15, the Arab Free Trade Zone, and the D8 Organization for Economic Cooperation. Egypt's pulse closed hardly today the first session of the week aimed purchase by local cooperation and investment funds against self-offs by Arab and foreign corporations. The market capital of listed companies added 21 billion Egyptian pounds, exceeding 2.1 trillion pounds at the end of transaction that reached nearly 11 billion pounds. The benchmark index EGX30 rose 1.18% above the 31,174-point mark. The equal-weighted index EGX70 and EGX100 climbed 1.74% and 1.67% respectively. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for this edition. Thank you for watching. Best regards from me, Shuru Bakir.